Hi, hello, and good evening. It is December 5th, and we're chatting Survivor 43. Okay, it's been 2 weeks since the last time we chatted Survivor, and obviously we lost two survivors since then, um, and two like rather strong ones.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
one and a half. One and a half.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll get into it all. Let's do it. All right. I am Kyle Petty, and rounding out my final three is John Dunphy and Gina Morgino. This is Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Presumptuous, we know, and we're going to keep doing it. You can find us in the socials at Strat Chat Pod or on our website at stratchatpod.com. And tonight, we're talking Survivor 43. We're talking episodes 10 and 11. All right. We like to do two in a row. Got a lot of stuff going on in the Strat Chat universe. Strat Chatterverse. Hashtag it. Let's go, Gina. Watch you be pulling it tomorrow. Let's go. Clip it. Let's go. Strat Chatterverse. Okay, anywho's. So, this was following our double eviction, right? The last time we were together, we lost James and
Ryan?
Who? Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan. That's correct.
James and Ryan. Yes.
I couldn't remember who in those three eliminations happened when.
Yeah. So that was what we were on the heels of, and that was opening up episode 10. Now, this now tells us that Carla became aware of the James vote thanks to Sammy. Okay, that plays out more later. That does play out more later. But I thought interesting, so yeah, obviously, so then Carla voting for James. Yikes. So there's that. Any thoughts on that before we charge forward? No, right? It feels like forever ago. Whatever.
Yeah, it truly does feel like it.
No, sorry, James.
That was like before Thanksgiving, right?
I know.
Really does feel so long ago.
I know.
Oh my
I'm so
God.
sorry. This is just for continuity's sake. We just got to keep up.
Yeah.
For our Survivor friends, we didn't discuss it. We're discussing it, but obviously not for long. So, what else did I write here? Jesse seems to feel that he has a great relationship with everyone. He does seem to think that.
Yeah.
This will also be interesting later because there's so many things that happened since these comments were made.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to revisit some of these early notes. This is why I'm not totally turned off to our 2-week concept here because you really get to revisit some of these silly comments that people make and you get to see how they age, because Gina knows things about things that don't age great.
We'll get there. I've been waiting all day to be mocked.
No, you don't deserve to be mocked. We didn't know. There's so many things we didn't know. So we jump right into a reward challenge, right? They get the today we're playing for Sanctuary, right? And a place in it. And in this sanctuary, one will find pizza, cheesecake, brownies, beer, and wine. Oh, and also pillows and blankets.
That's the most important part. If I've been sleeping on rocks for like a month, all I want is a blanket.
Really?
Give me a blanket.
The wine said nothing to you.
I think the food for me would be the biggest thing.
Listen, but I don't know. With these food challenges, sometimes that's exactly what I would want. But if you've been living off of berries for the last month, your tummy is gonna be very upset if you're putting pizza in it all of a sudden.
I don't think so. They've only been out there for less than 3 weeks. Give me some damn pizza. It's not like it's been 6 months. It's not like somebody who hasn't eaten meat for 2 years and now they're eating meat again for the first time. They've been away from home for less than 3 weeks, eating that stuff, rice and coconut or whatever. Give me some pizza. I will be very happy.
Is there a reason why wine hasn't entered the conversation? Because I think that I would go straight to that log. There's no better sound to me after a rough day than that of the cork and like
could not kill that.
that very first. Like, listen, the pizza would only be because I would have a smart mind to know that I should have some padding before I go ham on the wine, But like, I'm not so sure that after how many days is this? 18, 19 at this stage?
Something like that.
Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I think I go straight to the wine. And those pillows and blankets would come in handy because she'll be drunk in not too long. But that was the reward. That's what we were looking for. We want to go to Sanctuary for all of these, for all of the fine things in life. Okay, to be part of the Finer Things Club, if you will. So in order to get there to this sanctuary, one had to spin inside a metal frame, pulling a buoy across this line. Once they have accomplished that, they would run over this net. Obviously, they're very dizzy at this point. They are very dizzy from all the spinning. They had to go down the line. Oh, I don't know what that is. I think they just ran through the thing. It didn't matter. That doesn't matter. Walk down the balance beam while they're, going to and fro. And in the middle of said balance beam, there was a bean bag that they had to kneel down, untie, and then continue on their journey down the beam, with said dizziness going on. And take this sandbag and throw it atop a high platform. I had one sandbag do this, so if you miss, you got to run and go get it. Very tedious, very annoying. This is a very exciting challenge to watch. One that I would have wanted no part of. Like, quite literally none. And the hero of this story is obviously the Lady Noelle.
I was screaming by the end of this competition. I could not believe what I was watching.
Right. And I'm sorry, I already misspoke. Lady Noelle is almost disrespectful. I think she earned queen.
Yeah.
Because of this, right? Lady,
yeah.
As if she's just some woman in some random ass dress in town square. No, this is Queen Noelle, an Olympian. And proves so.
We have talked about how the edit makes you know, they're editing things this way, so that probably these people are going into elimination, whatever. They kept focusing on her, and I was like, I don't know if they're focusing on her because this is going to be a really big upset, or if she's going to win this competition. And if she wins this competition, I'm going to lose my mind, because they kept going back to everyone's at the very end stage, and they keep going back to her struggling on this balance beam. And I was like, I swear to God, if she wins this.
That was the furthest thing from my mind. I was like,
it was all I could think about. I was like, please tell me that you keep editing it on her because she's going to win it. Because it was so hard to watch, but I was like, please.
Yeah. I felt so bad because you see the determination in her and just how hard she works. And even listening to her say, I don't know how I'm going to freaking do this. I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. And I just felt so bad. And then as you see it progress, and she gets past one more stage and then gets a little further and a little further, I'm like, and then she gets even with everybody and she's right there tossing the sandbag like everybody else. And I'm like, she's going to win this thing. She's going to freaking win this thing. And to the point where you could see how down on herself she was, but was not letting herself give up on it. And then this was probably, to me, whether we're talking immunity challenge or reward challenge, this might have been the most satisfying win I've seen in any challenge this whole season. It was so awesome to see her just overcome it and just take it home. I loved it.
And she even said to Jeff, had this been me on two legs, I probably would have just given up and been like, screw it, I'm out. But because of how, I think she was saying because of how much she had learned about herself in losing her leg, it was I pushed myself past where I ever thought I could.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was really, really amazing to watch. And it did make me think, I'm not ragging on Big Brother in any way, but this is really something that you would only see on Survivor.
Oh, yeah.
This really is the spirit of the show, and this is really why it's so special. And I'm so happy that this is the season that we decided to come back to. If for no other reason than to watch her story. This is what makes Survivor special. This was really, really incredible. Big ups to Noelle. really, really amazing to watch. We love this. Oh, that was the next thing I wrote. In tears. Yeah, it was great. It was really, really wonderful.
And just for the sake of what Kyle had kindly pointed out earlier, this was where I had made an Instagram story with Noelle's picture saying, I have never been prouder than I have in this moment to have selected Noelle as my winner pick for the season. Just put a pin in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
And,
know that I said that in that moment.
Yeah, and
Publicly,
we
social
all
media.
cringed because we were behind. I would agree with this. Hi, Matt, by the way. Welcome back to the chat. Matt says, Noelle definitely has a spot reserved for the next returnee season. And I would say that is definitely so. We are not done seeing Queen Noelle.
Oh, no.
Totally.
And I am
Totally
eagerly anticipating her return. And with that, she has won the right to go to Sanctuary. And she chooses her boys. She chooses Jesse, Sammy, and Owen to go with her. Okay. Oops. That was really loud. Jeez. I just turned the
so
page.
Impressive.
Oh, jeez. Let me see. So while this was going on, I guess this was sometime after. The next note I just had was that Cass. Oh, anybody have any thoughts on these letters from home? I want to skip them.
I know
they
you
got the letter
know.
that I totally forgot. I'm sorry. So they got some letters from home, and it looked like they got multiple letters in these envelopes. It wasn't just one family member. It looked like it was multiple family members, and it looked like it did feel pretty sweet. I guess one moment of particular note was definitely of Jesse. Right, when he was mentioning how, like him and his wife had only communicated via letter when he was in juvie, and now to be communicating in this way, but for a positive reason. That did resonate.
It was
with
that,
me.
and
Was
it was
nice.
seeing like the over-the-shoulder shot of like his kids writing him a letter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the baby handwriting where like letters are written backwards or whatever. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
These letters from home I always think they're nice, and this was nice. It was sweet, but there was a part of me that felt like they've only been out there for like 18 days.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
no.
Like I know the first HOH gets a letter in Big Brother, and that's only like a weekend, and you see people get emotional, and like I'm sure, right? Like I'm sure it's hard to be away from family and friends, especially in a Survivor setting. I think that there's more. I think there's something more to it than being in a Big Brother setting. But
Absolutely.
like there was there was something to me about it that I was like, they've only been out there for like 2.5 weeks. Are we really going full on sobbing?
I guess the only other thing to consider, though, is that especially in this environment, they probably were out there at least another 2 weeks sooner, because of COVID quarantines and things like that.
Yeah.
And like whatever other traveling it took to get to the place where the show was actually shooting. I'm sure they're not quarantining in Fiji.
And all of the
I guess there's that
press photo shoots and like all of that stuff too.
Yeah, I guess they've already been away for like some time.
I would imagine they're probably able to communicate with people, like they're at least family at that point, though. Still, right? Like, you're like, I'm sure you can call you can probably call your mom from your hotel room. Right?
I get that it's a different kind of game than Big Brother, but you're still in sequester because no one knows who is on the season. Yeah,
but your family knows.
I don't know.
How many times we see in Big Brother before they go on the show? Oh my God, I have a key, and like their family's all there.
Yeah, like, but like you can't communicate with people on the outside because, well, again, maybe it's different with Survivor because everything is like retroactive. But once like the cast, I guess it's a Big Brother thing. Like the cast gets announced, and they're like, oh, these people are in there, whatever. Like if you're like talking to outside people, I guess that doesn't really matter for Survivor. But I don't know if there's any kind of risk of like people connecting via their family members. You know what I mean?
Well, Matt's got some info for us. They quarantine in tents in Fiji. Interesting. All right. Hey, okay.
I think this whole family segment was palatable to me because there's only a couple of them. If they did this with everyone, I would have found it to be extremely exhaustive. And I think that's my issue with the family thing. It's like it's very, very hard for me to care. I only met you a few weeks ago. I'm supposed to be very affected by the fact that you've got this family thing going on. It's like whatever. But this was
Yeah.
special because these characters are special. I hate calling them characters. They're not characters. They're real people. But their stories are very interesting.
Yeah. I do
So
agree
it does
with
make you
that.
more invested. Yeah.
Especially the Jesse one, like you said.
Yeah.
I
That
get on
one's
board with.
certainly one of particular interest.
I don't know if I would have cared as much if it was like Cody or Gabler, but Jesse, like, yeah.
Well, Gabler has kids. Like, maybe. We don't know enough about the kids. Maybe we would have learned more. Who's to say? Who's to say? But I'm happy that I wasn't subjected to all of them all at once. If they get them later, then fine. But I just don't need a 15-minute clip of family. That's not.
I feel like you and I have had very different. I feel like you and I have had very different views on this particular family segment than we normally do. Usually, this is the other way around.
You're both totally opposite of what usually the conversation sounds like.
I think I've been pretty consistent in my distaste for family segments. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm saying right now you are not giving distaste.
Right,
You're
right.
giving I was here for it.
Well, because there was a few.
Even
I'm not really here for it. Now, hold on. I'm not here for it. It's just that there was only a few of them. That I will maintain that. But if you gave me the whole damn tribe, you would have lost me. Anywho's, nobody cares what I care about. So the immunity challenge was holding one hand on this balance board. And they had to build a house of cards with their other hand. And so it was tall enough to get to this little arrow.
This is
and
hard.
obviously not upset.
These are
the apple
always
cart.
so frustrating. I just know that I would be raging if I had to do this because it's just so frustrating. You're right there, and the whole thing falls over.
No, absolutely terrible.
I have to say though that every time their house of cards fell, the sound that it made was very satisfying to me. This
little click,
click, click, click, click, click, click. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that too.
There
were some sounds in the second episode, the episode 11, that I really enjoyed as well. Since we're talking about enjoyable sounds, so I'm glad that's a topic that's always open. I can't wait to revisit.
We love an ASMR moment.
Yeah, we do like enjoyable sounds, and I do agree. It was very delicious. So that was that. Cassidy wins.
Good for Cassidy.
I like her.
Yeah.
I like her. I like her.
Yeah.
So Noelle wanted to go for her though.
That's true.
So much for that. Jesse and Cody. Jesse and Cody want to target Noelle because she seems to make a way out of no way. I said, despite Jesse just being taken on a reward because of her, saying family influenced him and actually pushed him to do it. What do we think of this? Didn't love it.
Yeah, this felt a little.
Didn't feel good.
Yeah, really didn't.
No.
I mean, I get it. Because like he said, okay, obviously, big thank you goes to Noelle on the part of Jesse, right? Because she's the reason that he got these letters from home. But he did say that these letters also gave him this newfound motivation. Not that he wasn't motivated before, but a newfound motivation to win the game. And it seems like he felt that the best move for him to get to that next step in trying to win the game was to take out Noelle. So, and it's true. We've seen her time and time again sort of like work her way, right? Noelle's been a great player. And Jesse even said it. He said, Jesse even said it. I think Noelle is one of the best players in this game. Mm-hmm. So if this was the time that you had to get her out, right? If this was the time you had to do it, maybe you wouldn't get another chance. Maybe next week she wins immunity and then you're out, And
I get it. It just felt so gross.
I know. I don't remember who it was that said it either, but somebody kept talking about the fact that like you keep targeting the people closest to her in an attempt to weaken her. And all it's doing is making her stronger. And she pushes through no matter how many of her numbers you cut down, she somehow gets stronger. So like rather than beating around the bush and cutting her numbers, you have to just cut her.
Yeah. And it's true. You take out her number one, and she always seems to come back with a new number one. It's so true.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
She absolutely had to go. Oops. Whatever. It was 2 weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
she had to go. I get it, but damn.
And what did you think of this whole rundown too that Jesse did of like how to successfully,
Pull out
operate
the
Implement the
effective
blind side.
blind side. Yeah,
pull off this
I wrote
blind
this
side of
down.
like, yeah,
So his number one thing was have a cover story,
right.
right? But I
I
didn't actually
really,
write down what the cover story was.
I really love this. So he was like,
Sammy. Wasn't it Sammy?
well, there was also, he said, any conversation that you have with somebody, you need to have a reason for it, like a believable reason. And so he had been talking with Cody, and then immediately went to talk to Noel, as far as what we saw. And when Noel asked him, like, how'd your talk with Cody go? He was like, oh, it was fine. He just asked for his idol back. And so like that was his cover for his conversation with Cody, where he actually was talking to Cody about getting Noel out. But he had
Right.
like a cover story, like a fake thing. I don't know. We don't even actually know if Jesse still has Cody's idol or not. Like we haven't even seen
I
Cody
have
ask
no
for
idea.
No idea.
it. So maybe that really did happen in their conversation, but I think
Certainly
that was the cover
possible.
story part.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Sammy was the backup plan. I think that's what that was.
Yes, because I'm like Sammy definitely did come into this, and I was like,
Yeah.
if they're listing this by title here, I need to write all these different things down here.
Mhm.
But yeah, so 2 was throw the fall guy under the bus. Oh,
That was Sammy.
That
That
was
was
Sammy.
Sammy.
and I wrote in
I
parentheses.
think
Sammy.
Gabler was
I
the
didn't
backup
see it.
plan. Gabler.
Yeah.
I mean, Sammy going is really not a bad thing for anyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem like he's closely aligned with anyone, which
Mhm.
well. So yeah, and then have a backup plan, Gabler. Is anybody like starting to stand Gabler at all? Nobody yet?
I think that's just you, babe.
Okay. We're gonna say.
I mean,
we're gonna say.
he's all right. I think he's a pretty good player, but
But hold on.
I don't know. There's just
I'm also not standing. No, not stop it. She said just you, babe. I'm not really standing Gabler. Let's just before people start ripping me up. Because if the Amazing Race got me canceled, you bet your ass the survivors are coming for me. So no, I just think he's interesting, and I think he's not one to be overlooked. That's all.
I think that I think he's a good player and a pretty smart player, because in this whole thing, with Jesse running around with the whole, coming up with this plan, right, on how to successfully, call out a blindside or pull off a blindside. Jesse had this conversation with Gabler, and then Gabler immediately went to I think it was Carla, and was talking to her like, listen, this is the plan right now, but also we really need to get out Jesse and Cody. Like, it wasn't like Gabler just took what Jesse said and was like, oh yeah, I'll ride with these guys. It's like he is, he's like, he's trying to figure out what to do and how to navigate through the game, but isn't also like just buying into anyone's bullshit full stop. So I think Gabler has 0 vote finalists written all over him. Prayers to Kyle.
No, see, this is exactly what I was trying to avoid. This is not prayers to Kyle. Kyle doesn't need prayers because, like, I'm not riding for him that hard. Like, I'm just saying, like, but I don't think it is outside the realm of possibility that he can cause enough chaos to mess up somebody else's game. He's just not one to be overlooked. I'm not saying that people are going to vote for him to win, but like, he's not a throwaway person. Saying. That's all. That's all. Prayers to Kyle. Hey, man. Trying to. But yeah. I hear you, John.
Yeah.
All right, where are we now? Sorry. Gabler and Carla talking about going after Jesse and Cody.
Yes.
Looked like this was kind of Gabler's idea, though. At least from the way the conversation was edited, at least,
Yeah, well, this came right after that Jesse Gabler conversation I was mentioning, because he said yes, like, let's get Noel, and then went right to Carla. It was like, we got to get Jesse and Cody out. They're running stuff.
Right, yeah. Well, none of that happened. Noel left. But I feel like that could be groundwork for later. Groundwork for
That's
later.
what I was gonna say.
I
It
think it's a
didn't
setting
seem
up
like
for later.
it didn't seem like he was trying to do that in lieu of voting out Noelle. It was just like, all right, we get Noelle now, but we get them next. You know,
Right. Always be thinking. Noelle leaving was a stinger.
Yeah, I
It
think
did
it
have to
stunk.
happen. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it stunk.
What a wild way.
That's exactly what I thought of immediately. We love the Grinch here. We stand. We
Oh
stand.
my god.
Okay. Is that it for episode 10? Noelle
I think
out.
so.
Boo! And I have no winner picks no more.
Ooh.
My Instagram story aged horribly. How embarrassing for me. I thought about taking it down, but then Kyle and John had not yet seen it, and I said, "That's not funny."
As soon as
I
I
found it very
cackled
enjoyable.
at work, and then I had to tell people why. Because they were like, "What was that?" And I was like, "Oh God."
I immediately then posted a story of a very close-up shot of my face saying, "Well, that didn't age well."
Now, Kyle, your male winner pick was Jesse, right?
Yeah.
So you're the only person left with a winner
Well,
pick.
hold on. No, no. I'm lying to you. My male winner pick was Cody. Yeah, it was Cody.
Oh, okay. So you're still
Yeah,
then.
it was
Still,
not
you're the
Jesse.
only.
Yeah.
You're still the only person left with a male winner pick, or any winner pick at all. Both of mine are out.
I only want somebody left. Doesn't look good.
I don't know. Maybe.
You think?
I like Cody, so
I still like him, but I just feel
like him in the beginning.
just that we're not seeing a lot of him, and at this stage, I don't know. Like I shouldn't be focusing that much on the edit, but it makes me feel like maybe we're not seeing that much.
I mean,
of
it's
him
hard
because
not to.
eventually he's
Yeah.
gonna be out. Right. But then if you take Erica from 41,
we didn't see her the
a lot of her
entire
at
game.
all. Right. So it doesn't really mean anything. So I shouldn't be thinking like that. So yeah.
well, I hope Cody wins it. I do. I hope your winner pick takes it.
Well, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I would also support a Jesse win.
I would
playing a
too.
great
I like
game.
both of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's really not anyone left at this point that I would like be upset if they won.
I'm also rooting for Carla. I gotta say.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
really like Carla.
It's too bad she wasn't my female pick.
Hmm.
Well, we know. I mean, like we base it on nothing. Base it on bios.
No, I
mean,
really like Carla.
it doesn't mean anything. But, I don't remember who I picked. That's right. I wanted Noelle, but I went with Ellie because I just felt like it wasn't interesting.
Because Noelle wasn't as much fun
right.
for you.
But I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to the Olympian. Yeah, no, like crazy. Anyway, episode 11. Oh, yeah, this opened up with a real kicker, right? Sammy wanted to act like he wasn't one of the people that wrote down Carla's name, right? Because there was a split now here, and there were 2 votes for Carla, and they came from Sammy and Owen. But Sammy wanted to act like it didn't come from him. Then he realized very quickly that, like, there's really no way to hide underneath this one. There's so few of them left. So he immediately backtracks, and he said, no, I'm just kidding. I did do it. And that's because everyone told me to. And no one told me that it changed. So it's not really on me. Which I guess is the best you could do with that. What else can you do?
You're gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, how else can you save it? I wanted to go with the majority. No one kept me in it. They tricked me.
Right, yeah. And that's what he should have said right from the beginning, though. Just say, listen, I asked people how they were voting. People were saying your name. I wasn't even the one that came up with your name. This is what I was told the majority was going with.
Right,
because apparently the plan changed, and I was left out of the loop at that point. Like,
it looks so much shadier if you're like, it wasn't me. Okay, it was me, but it wasn't my fault. Like,
right.
Unreal.
What a mess.
Oh, Sammy. This was this was a real 19-year-old moment from Sammy.
This was a disaster from Sammy. But there was an interesting moment with Gabler and Owen here, and this is where like it does become apparent to me that Gabler is kind of playing this game, and he is dialed in. He's dialed in. He knows that Owen was one of the people who voted against Carla, and that now he was on the outside of things, knowing that he would be outside the majority. So now Gabler takes this as an opportunity to swoop in and say, hey, let me get him on side. What did you think of this? Do you agree? Maybe Gabler's dialing in? Got a couple of bars of service, maybe?
A couple of bars of service.
Tuning in?
I do. I think Gabler's wheels,
God.
the gears are definitely turning. Gabler's trying to set up. We see him having conversations about being final three and this and that. Like, he's really, even the fact, like we said earlier, that he's kind of like caught on to Jesse and Cody running things. Like, Gabler is here to play. And like, if he's reaching out to Owen or anybody else, like, you know that he's trying to set himself up for the end here. I think he's definitely one to continue to watch for sure.
Yeah. All right, stop sleeping on him. Stop sleeping on him. So Owen does also make the comment that he has not voted correctly since Mariah.
Oh my God.
Which kind of makes me laugh. That makes me laugh. Sammy tells Carla that Cassidy has been saying her name. This was a lie. This was a lie that he started to weave. And we started to see some fruits from this sewing later on. Yes. We watered this one quickly, right? So yes, there's that. And obviously Carla does not take well to this, knowing that she has now trusted Cassidy with the fact that she does have an immunity idol. So Carla and Cassidy do have a conversation now. The way that this edit set this up, it really looked as if Cassidy may have been trying to do some kind of damage control, which is what I would have thought it was if I was Carla. But this was really Cassidy just being, hey, what did you think of the timing of this? What an unfortunate set of circumstances. I know. I was so many steps ahead. Yeah,
this was interesting.
This was unfortunate.
Because that's the same way that you read this situation is the way that I read it. It was like, wow, what a perfect way for this conversation to go for Sammy after he was like telling Carla to watch out for Cassidy. And then she comes down there being like, oh, I just don't know if Sammy's saying something that I know this or that. And it's like, this was the perfect way for this to go.
Yeah.
Matt, that's very rude. That's very rude. Everybody's just gonna keep calling me. Look, everyone's saying it. Both Matts. I'm reporting you both to YouTube.
You know it's getting clipped. You know it's getting clipped.
Florida alarm. Bonk, 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 bonk.
That's horrible. Florida alarm.
No, it's good.
That's horrible. That's horrible. Gonna crush my confidence. I didn't do anything to y'all. I was just having a fun Juan Monday.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Juan.
Thank you. You help me. I'm sinking. I'm drowning over here. Drowning in the Fijian waters. 6 more days. They made a comment. 6 more days. We get a boat. A boat right at sunrise. And they're telling. Thanks, Matt. Hearts. The boat tells us that there's an advantage hidden in the jungle.
That's right, boat mail.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if boat mail is real. I feel like they just made up boat mail. I feel like it's tree mail, and they were just being funny.
Well, they got mail by boat. It's boat mail. Mail by way of boat.
I just don't want to. I didn't want to support that term, and I didn't even want to bring it up in my description. That's why I didn't say it. And then you did it anyway. Damn it! But anyway, off they go into the jungle to go find the advantage. And boy, did they struggle! It was right at eye level, right at the tree.
It was so hard to watch. They walked by it, and it looked like they looked right at it like 15 times, and I was like,
83,000
idiots! It's right there.
Yes.
There were so many times where I was like, "There's no way that person didn't see it."
Oh my God, I was getting so angry.
Yeah, really ridiculous. Sorry, I was reading these comments, and I don't agree. Matt is saying, yeah, and the cameraman stood in front of it the whole time. Right, filming it. Like, he didn't block it. He was filming it. Like, that should have been your clue.
There was enough room in between. Right, that's what got me too, is like, there were so many conversations where, like, the camera person looked like they were in between like the shoulder and the tree. It's like, why would they be getting that shot? Oh, because the tree has the idol. Like,
Right.
how far away was this cameraman that it was zoomed in that they couldn't tell
Right.
where was being like.
Unless
I kept
maybe they're
thinking that
just super
too.
cameras. Maybe they're not as close as we think. You know,
And
we
I
don't
kept
know
thinking that
things.
too. Like, how are you not noticing where the shot is right now and thinking, that's a weird place to have the shot.
Right, because we are also used to crappier cameras that are just set up in a house. So before you guys start canceling us, like, we don't know what Survivor's capable of. This is really only we don't know things. We don't know things. But Cody does find the advantage. He finds it.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was so slick too, of like, oh, I'm just gonna lean on this tree real quick, and then I'm just what? Something happened?
Yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. Although I thought that somebody would have noticed that though, because it's still like
the way they edited that too. I thought, who was it? Was it Sammy?
Sammy.
It looked like Sammy saw him, but there was no mention of that ever again.
Hey, Brett.
What's up,
Brett says the cameras definitely were far away and zoomed.
I hope so.
I hope so. Because I would be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, why are you leaving me here?
Why are you so close? There must be something going on. Yeah. I don't know why I keep putting this down. It's so stupid. Yeah, so Cody finds it right, and it reads that if he picks who wins the next immunity challenge, he will also win immunity. And it also now told us what the immunity challenge would be so that he can make an educated decision. And it was called, I don't know, something to gasp. It was something that we are.
I think.
Who?
I think last gasp.
Last gasp. All right. This is one that we've seen before, where we see our survivors underneath the metal grate, and the high tide rolls in, and they have to now, keep breathing and stay under. Last one to remain underneath the water would win the immunities.
So I had never seen this one before.
Oh no! Really?
No. And when they were like when he was explaining how it worked, I was like, I misheard this. There's no way that what I'm picturing in my head is what they're going to make these people do. Mm-hmm. My anxiety was through the roof watching this. This is my nightmare. This competition is my nightmare. I would literally be like, snuff my torch. I'm going home. I don't want to do this anymore.
Really?
Oh my God. No way.
I would do this before that balance beam thing with the house of cards.
I would do the balance beam 500 times before I did this. Absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
Huh?
John doesn't care. John has no thoughts.
I mean, I think this looks fun. I would do it.
Fun? What is the matter with you people?
Yeah, I actually would want to try this. I wouldn't want to try it like in this setting because I just know that I would have a really like rough go with it. Like, I know I wouldn't win it. Like, I have no chance of winning, but I'd like to try it. I think it's an interesting. It's interesting.
I already can't swim, so right off the bat, this is a bad challenge for me. Even before we go under the grates, but then having like this tiny little hole of like maybe you can breathe and maybe you cannot. I'm gonna drown. Are you kidding me?
But you can just leave. Like you're totally in control. Is the thing.
That first swell would happen. I'd be like, "It's been real. I'm not doing this no more."
Isn't that pretty much what happened to Gabler? That's pretty much what happened to Gabler.
I think it is. I hadn't gotten up to refresh my drink, and then I heard Gabler's out. This one's out, and I was like, "Oh!"
I literally watched Gabler sweat for under it, and I went, "Yup, me too, same, yes."
Too bad. But this one was interesting, right? This was interesting. This saw Carla and Owen as our final two.
Yeah.
And they, a survivor first lasted so long that the tide started to recede. High tide, your mama.
What was it?
Yeah, mama.
I don't know. Yeah.
High tide, your mama.
Mama. They weathered the storm, and they both won immunity. Because basically, Jeff said, "We're not waiting for another high tide. We're out of here."
They were under that thing for what, 3 hours? I was like, what is wrong with you?
They want to win. This is a Survivor Classic. This is their OTEV, okay?
I would have lasted 3 minutes. 3 hours? Are you kidding me?
Awesome. Like, there's no way I would have lasted 3 hours. There's no way.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have done 3 minutes either, but I would have liked to try. Oh, and this is where our very enjoyable sounds came from. Bonk, 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 bonk. The splashing of the water, very enjoyable.
Oh, you know what I could have done without, though? The slow motion shots of everybody blowing water out of their nose or spitting up water out of their mouth. I said, no, I don't want this. Why am I seeing this?
Very fun. Very
there were
fun.
so many. I was like, I'm eating lunch. Why am I watching this happen to these people?
This is fantastic because you're supposed to watch live after dinner.
I don't care when I'm supposed to watch it. I don't want to see it.
So they both win immunity. My only last note was Jesse wants Sammy so bad so that Carla loses some face/agency. Right, because at this stage is when Carla was saying, hey, you want to go for Cassidy? Whatever. Go for it. I don't care. And because she didn't care is what made other people now start looking at Sammy a little bit more and saying, you know what? It looks like maybe you're getting a little bit cozier with Sammy. Let's go for him.
I think Jesse was very much like, let's get Sammy, and then Carla will be the only person that voted for Cassidy. And we could be like, oh, like now Carla has to explain to her number one why she was the only person that voted for her. I know Cody, though, was very much like, I still don't trust Cassidy. I want to get Cassidy out. But at this point, Jesse was totally on the other side.
Let me ask you something, though. Now, what do you think of this as a potential, like, hardcore, like, high-level bluff? Like, if I think you're starting to say my person's name, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, okay, let's do it. and it's like, that's not really what I think. Now, we know that Carla's intentions were different, but what do you think about what about our intentions being different? I'm trying to throw you off the scent. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever, you can do whatever you want. And then people go, oh, well, I guess that didn't really matter. Is that a risky bluff? What do you think about that, like, down the road for how these social games are played?
It is interesting. It is. And as we saw, like, Carla ended up voting for Sammy anyway, right? So, like, that didn't even ended up not even being like a factor. But like that would be interesting if you're like, oh, I'm hearing my number one's name, so let me act like I don't care because people are trying to weaken me, and then they'll say, let's go after this person instead, and it's like that is an interesting play. I don't know.
I only think that go ahead.
I was going to say she would have to have a really solid read, though, because it actually did make her distrust her. So, like, she would have to have enough of a read on the game to be like, they're making stuff up to try to get her out. You know what I mean? Because she believed that she had her name in her mouth.
Right. That's interesting. Because what I was going to say, like, part of me almost believes that you can only really pull that off in Survivor because you have to make this decision so quickly. Like, there's a rush behind it. So it's like, I have to quickly decide now, is this person on my side or not? Which would now make this person believe I've made this snap decision to now not work with this person anymore.
Right.
However, to prevent the situation you just described, you would have had to have a longer game to have developed a relationship where you know that if you heard me say something like that, you won't now take that as something to not trust
that
you.
Seed of doubt was planted. It was immediately like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. You know, there was no like, at least from what we saw, there was no faltering. There was no, oh, I wonder if this is true or not. It was, oh my God, I can't believe that she would throw my name out there like that.
Right.
You know?
To this point, you've only been playing for 3 weeks. Whereas if you did a move like this 2 months into a game, you might say, like, you know what? Let me go have a conversation first. Yeah. I'm hearing what you're saying, but hold on. Like, you wouldn't immediately like just jump on board.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's interesting. Hmm. All right. Well, thanks for that. That was fun. So past that, I mean, that was really it. These tribals, I think, are really, really awful. I am so sick of listening to metaphors and all these things. Like, we're not actually having like game conversations
Yeah.
at all. All we're
It's all
doing is like,
hypotheticals.
yes, who's being the craftiest with what they're saying, and who do you think it might apply to? It's almost like, the free version of horoscopes.com. It's like, this could just go to anything. It doesn't
Right, 'cause,
really
I get the concept of like you don't want to like show all your cards or whatever. But this like, what would you say if someone was playing the game like that? No, I want to hear you be like, what do you think of Carla right now? How do you think Carla's playing the game? I think Carla's playing the
right.
game like shit. Like, go back and forth and like say your actual
Right,
thoughts
let's
on
have a
what's happening. Not like,
conversation. Like, what's the
oh, if
point of this?
somebody was saying
Yeah.
my name behind my back and I didn't know, that'd be so crazy. No, I want to know what you think of what the reads are of the game
Yes.
right now. What is actually happening right now? What applies to the tribe right now?
I'm so happy you're saying all this, because when we do Australian Survivor, it's gonna knock your socks off.
Is that how
Okay.
it works for Australia?
Oh yeah, tribals in
Why do
Australia.
they do all our shows better than us?
I know.
They're
I don't
longer.
know.
The tribals are longer there, and they're like
Way
actually
longer.
you actually want to watch them though. Like you actually
Yeah,
want to
they
watch
are
how it all goes.
way invasive. Just like,
That's
so
what I
Gina, I
wanted.
heard there were some problems back at camp. What was going on? You had a problem with some fish?
Right.
Like, I
It's
mean, he'll just
so-
dive right the hell in.
It's so boring to me when it's
Yeah.
like, in a game like this, would you do if I don't care what you would do if I care what you're doing now because like,
Right. I want to see decisions changing in the moment. And you get this when you go to Australia.
Yep.
Yeah, your mind's going to be blown. Your mind's going to be
That's
blown.
Jonathan,
Yeah.
great host.
Yeah.
Great
well, then
host.
I'm very excited.
And what's funny is that the first time I watched any Australian Survivor, I was like, would you stop asking them so many questions? I'm like, you're going to ruin a good blindside. You're going to ruin it because you're
I
asking
remember
too
you
much.
saying that. Yeah.
Yes, and I don't stand by that anymore. It is so much more interesting to see the chaos,
Mhm.
because people will say certain things, and they don't care in Australia. They will just get up and just start having a full out conversation right in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
They will walk right to the other side, like, listen, so Gina, like, I don't know what you're thinking, but I think we should do this. And you're like, excuse me? Like,
Right,
we're
it's
talking
actually
over
really, like-
here. Yes. So they'll just get up, put their back to Jonathan, and just have a full blown conversation with somebody else. Like, it's like, yo,
It's
these
wild.
tribals are
It's-
wild.
Yeah. It's honestly, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. There was even one season, like, they would extract certain people from it and talk in the back and have a huddle. And they're like, hello. And they're putting the words on the bottom because you can't even hear what they're
Yeah.
saying. Like, it's wild.
I love that.
Wild. But yeah. So anyway, that's what's to come. That's in January. So we'll hope you'll still be with us when we go to Australia. You won't be disappointed. Get your VPNs in order. DM us if you need help. Strat Chat Pod. You can find us on the socials. Any losers. Back to this one. So there's a big undercurrent, obviously, to push Sammy out. And that's exactly what happened. That's it. Sammy's gone. Much to my chagrin.
Not without fight. He did play a shot in the dark. He pulled out all the stops, did whatever he could. I am over shot in the dark.
I am so over
Nothing
shot in the
ever
dark.
happens. Every time somebody plays it, nothing happens.
No.
It has never worked for anybody. What is the point? Why are we doing this?
So stupid.
It's boring. It's such a flop twist. It has never
Yes.
worked in 3 seasons. I'm bored.
Yeah. You honestly, you can put shot in the dark right up there with the safety suite. Okay?
Boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
The absolute worst.
I would have preferred if they just rigged it this time and it just said safe, just so that we could be like, oh, it actually worked for once. Like somebody played it and it worked.
I knew going in
Right,
it
at
wasn't going to
least.
do anything, and I was like, can it just this one time be something
Yes.
fun? I know it
And,
won't,
like-
but like just once.
He's like, oh, you guys don't even know, but I did do my shot in the dark. It's like, nobody cares. It's going to be nothing. It's just an extra 30 seconds.
right, it's
actually
just something
don't-
that I have to watch him open this paper to tell you nothing.
I actually don't think that I even wanted Sammy to stay over anybody that's left. but like, but if someone else had to go just for this shot in the dark to work
For
one
once.
time, I would have taken it.
You know what I did hear? The other flop twist that's gone was that nonsense with the flames and whatnot. If you choose this one, you stay home.
Oh yeah,
And if you don't, like you're out of here, like that. I don't know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
nonsense. I heard that's gone.
Good. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another flop twist. At least they listened. But
Well.
it was also worth mentioning that Cody's advantage, okay, was he selected Owen. Right, do or
Do or
die.
die. Yes, yes, yes.
That's what it was called. Yeah, that twist is canceled.
They deaded it.
Yes, die to do or die. He lost the wager. So Cody's advantage, he had selected Owen to win the immunity challenge, and he did, and that left Cody safe at this boring tribal as well.
Which meant 3 of the 7 members
Right,
of that council
which-
could not be eliminated.
Lame. Especially since like no one was going for Cody anyway, so lame. Another flop twist, and we didn't. I would have rather the reward challenge than this. Everybody walking past this thing that's hanging in plain sight, like.
It was
boo.
driving me up a wall. Every time someone would walk by it, I was like, "Can you?" I would rather all of them like fight, Hunger Games style fight over it because they all saw it at the same time, than watch
Right.
people walking past it 17 times and no one sees it.
Stinkies.
Boring.
Mm-hmm. I mean, still better than do or die though.
Stinky.
Stinkies. So that's it. What do we have for the weeks ahead here? So who do we have left? We have Queen Carla. We have
Mhm.
Cassidy. We have Jesse, Cody,
Jesse.
Owen, and Gabler.
Gabler.
So we have
Mhm.
6. We have 6 left.
Yes.
Okay. What are we thinking now? Where do we think this game is going? Who do we think could take it at this stage? We don't really have. I mean, I have Cody still in the game, but like now that we know things about the game, how do we actually think this is going to wrap up? Do we think? Who do we think is on our final 2 or 3 here?
I mean, I think the strongest players right now are Carla and Jesse. But I don't know if they're gonna win. I can't tell. I don't know. Because I was certain Xander was gonna win, and then here comes Erica. So, like, I don't know how this is gonna go.
I think Jesse's in a strong position, but people are going to start looking at him. But he's got potentially 2 idols still. Like,
But
I don't know.
Too, like, I was talking to Mikey actually about this earlier today, and he was like, every episode, I wait for somebody to clock that Jesse is set up so well and is pulling so many strings, and no one ever says his name. He's like, I've been waiting.
We finally
for
saw
weeks.
that. I think we
We
finally
should get
saw that
Mikey
in
to
these.
come back.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we did finally see that in these 2 episodes, though, between Gabler and Carla having that conversation that Jesse and Cody were running everything.
Yeah.
But even with that conversation, they still sent out
Didn't
Noel
go
and then
anywhere,
Sammy.
yeah.
So, yeah. So, I guess we'll see. But I mean, even Owen, like Owen's always on the wrong side of the vote, but has never been in danger. Have we ever got into a tribal thinking like Owen might get voted out?
No.
So
Not
like
once.
he always complains about being on the outside and being on the wrong side of the vote, which I'm sure is frustrating. But
Sure.
I feel like at some point you do hear everyone else's name, and you don't really ever hear his name other than just that he's left out of the vote.
Right.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you also, as him, you wouldn't know that your name never comes up.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like that would be still something like very unsettling. Like as you're
Concerning,
walking around
sure,
campus. Yeah. Such an interesting thing to think about, especially in a game that's moving so fast. You really don't ever feel settled.
Yeah.
Right.
Even in Big Brother, even like that Vito's in a couple of days, there'll still be some time in there that they're like, you kind of disconnect from it for a little bit. You don't ever in this.
Yeah. Because there's new.
Yeah.
What is it? A tribal every day or every couple of days? Like
every other day, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell us if we're wrong. We'll hear very soon.
I always forget how fast this is too.
Yeah. It's like
Because in my mind, this Okay. In my mind, this has been happening for like a month and a half, 2 months, not like a couple of days. Like it's what do they say? 18 days, 19 days?
Yeah, that's all it's been so far, and there's only
Yeah.
6 days left. Like you could literally like buy a new cell phone today, and your first bill will be due further out than when this game wraps up. like it's crazy.
Well, that's because we're 11 episodes in. This week will be 12, and it's been 12 weeks for us.
Yeah.
So we've watched
It
in
has been
12
like 2
weeks.
months. Yeah.
Yeah, in 12 weeks we've watched 3 weeks of gameplay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, so that's that, That's Survivor. That's Survivor. What else do we have going on? The Amazing Race is wrapping up on Wednesday.
Mhm.
Ooh.
We have to at least live tweet if we're not going to be live that evening. Is
I'm
anybody
gonna be at
available?
work.
You're
I'm
going to
gonna
be
be at
working.
work.
You're going to be working. I thought it could be good to get ahead of things and do like an emergency finale live to wrap her up, to be part of the zeitgeist. But no, we'll definitely have to at least.
I mean,
live
I
tweet
could.
that.
It would just have to be a midnight Amazing Race, which is not the vibe on a Wednesday night.
No, it is not. At least not for me. I have work. We'll have to talk offline how we wrap that
Sure.
up. But on Thursday at 9:30, we have the Challenge 38. This week's episode, and then we have these 2 episodes of the Challenge Australia, which I mean, this is not an official decree, but I don't think the Challenge Australia will be joining us for a second season. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
been reading some of the dramas. Our show is not doing well down under.
No.
It's been dropping it every week.
Yes.
Every week.
It has now been canceled by its main channel, and it's been downgraded to one of the spin-off channels. That is why it's now
Has it? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It affects us not by much. So originally it was on channel 10 on Monday and Tuesday. It has now been switched to just Mondays.
Right.
And now it airs later.
Do we still watch it in the same place, or is it on a different site now?
No, we do still watch it in the same place. Yeah. But yeah, it's not faring very well over there.
Well, this is. I think we had talked.
Decreasing.
Yeah, I think this is something we had talked about within the first couple of weeks. Their viewership had dropped by like a third, and it's gone down even more now. Since the last time we talked about it. We talked about it one night on the Challenge Australia during the pod, but it's gone down even more now.
Damn.
Yeah. So, but we will be discussing that at 10:30. Because we still love it. Woo! Challenge Australia. Because listen, these finalists. Listen, it doesn't matter if the Australians are not on board, because the rest of the world is, and our finalists from Challenge Australia will be going on to the Challenge, Global Championship. Okay, so whatever to you people, we'll be happy to take the people you don't want. Then we will enjoy them on our own. Thank you. But yeah, so that's that. That's what we have going on. Is there anything else for the benefit of the community?
I don't think so.
Satisfied? Yeah, we're satisfied, kids. All right. You can find us on the socials at StratChatPod or on our website at StratChatPod.com. And this was Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Thanks for chatting. We're outies. Very sleepies.